Hello everyone, and I'm Autobot Sonic the Telltale Gamer, being latest everything Telltale Games, Transformers, and more. Today we are back with another Transformers Cyberverse review, and this time we will be covering the penultimate episode of Season 1 of Cyberverse, which is Episode 17, Awaken Sleeping Giants. Now, having just gone back into actually watching episodes of Cyberverse, it really makes me appreciate, this show again for, wow, back in when I started watching it in 2018, I guess in a way I was just kind of burned out with Transformers, maybe just a bit too much, and just also in the way I was just back during then, and that was late 2018, early 2019. Actually even more so to now, and well, especially with 2020 and 2021. I just been really feeling super demotivated, but now just honestly I don't know what it is, but it might just be part of my new job, but I just feel like so much more motivated now to actually do YouTube, and it feels great to be riding. I want to try riding this high as long as I can, so to speak. So yeah, we're going to be covering the penultimate episode of Transformers Cyberverse Season 1, Episode 17, Awaken Sleeping Giants. So with this is sort of our bridge to the finale of Season 1 of Cyberverse, which will end I guess I'll call this the Memory of Bumblebee season, as I just unofficially dubbed it. And I gotta say, as a way of leading into the final episode of Season 1, I think it does a great job of basically showcasing what the stakes are for this season of Cyberverse, and how basically we've been following Bumblebee and Windblade, trying to figure out where the Ark is and all the other Autobots are, so they can fight back against the Decepticons and find the Allspark. And then through the help in these later episodes, they found Teletran X and Grimlock, and now it's all coming together to finally find the Ark. I'm really excited to see how it all ends with the Season 1 finale. But for now, first we gotta get through the penultimate episode. So we're gonna go over everything this episode did right and what it did wrong. So this episode starts off roughly a few hours probably after the events of the last episode, the Extinction event. It's Windblade, Bumblebee, Grimlock, and Teletran X all back at Grimlock's makeshift base, which is sort of just kind of like a replica of the Ark's bridge. And Windblade stresses to the team how they need to hurry up in finding the Autobots, as with Shockwave and his forces now on Earth, it's only a matter of time before the rest of the Decepticon forces are there as well. So as they're thinking of where the Ark could possibly be, Grimlock reveals a little side project he was working on during his time on Earth during prehistoric times, and opens a secret compartment for Bumblebee and Windblade and Teletran X to view, and he sees that he's created a total replica of the Earth as it looked during the time of dinosaurs, which is just the one supercontinent of Pangea. So he managed to pinpoint where the Ark was on that, but because over millions of years how climate change and just the shift in tectonic plates has changed how the Earth is formatted, basically, it's going to find it nearly impossible. But thankfully, Teletran X is able to decipher where the Ark is being held by scanning the map of Pangea and using modern technology to try and triangulate where the Ark's current position is, and they find that it is in some sort of one mountain ranges in Washington State. So excited now that they have the final location of the Ark after 16 episodes. The team gets ready to go back into the cargo plane they took last episode to head towards Washington to find the Ark. Unbeknownst to the four of them, however, the drone that Shockwave had sent to spy on Bumblebee, Grimlock, and the rest of the group at the end of the last week's episode with the Extinction event is still following them and has been recording this whole thing, so Shockwave knows where the Ark is now, and he orders Slipstream and all the other Seekers to chase after Bumblebee and his team, take them out, and then destroy the Ark as well while they're at it. And it's here we get, honestly, a pretty good fight scene compared to the last episode with the Extinction event. We have Bumblebee, Grimlock, and Teletran X in the cargo plane flying over the forest, while Windblade flies alongside them for support when Teletran X picks up Slipstream and all the other Seekers heading after them. So Windblade decides to try and buy them some time by taking out the Seekers. So she goes to deal with all the Seekers by herself, primarily focusing on Acid Storm and Thrust, and she manages to take them down quite easily, but not before Slipstream gets ahead of them and manages to destroy one of the wings of the ship, forcing a crash landing. And it's pretty funny here how when the ship goes down, Teletran X doesn't seem concerned at all with how it's crashing, but then Bumblebee and Grimlock fall out of the back of the plane, Grimlock manages to transform into his Dinobot mode to break his fall, and then catches Bumblebee, which honestly it reminds me a lot of this one scene back in like it pops out so vividly back in Robots in Disguise 2015, I believe it was. It was episode 3 of season 1 when Sideswipe and Stronum were learning to like get along and like do like trust falls, and then basically like Bumblebee does the same thing with the Robots in Disguise Grimlock there, and it made me think of that just all of a sudden. And then so while Grimlock and Bumblebee are trying to catch up to Teletran X, who has crashed a plane in the middle of the forest and is still alive, surprisingly, having just created a bubble shield around himself as the plane crashed. We end up seeing Windblade still battling Slipstream, while Nova Storm and Thundercracker try to take out Bumblebee, the Grimlock, and Teletran X. Now this part honestly gets to something that I find to be really, really cool to see, and it was the fight specifically between Bumblebee and Grimlock versus Nova Storm, and then Teletran X versus Thundercracker of all people. So it starts off with Nova Storm basically doing like a dive bomb run on Grimlock and Bumblebee, and the two of them are just running away when all of a sudden Grimlock gets the idea to try and throw Bumblebee at Nova Storm, take her down. So he basically ends up yeeting Bumblebee right out into the sky, and well, Bumblebee does a little like superhero like flight thing. He ends up shifting his hand to a stinger and basically paralyzes Nova Storm, causing her to fall down and crash in the jungle. We don't know what her status is because she doesn't show up again for the rest of the episode, but more than likely than not, she's still alive and will probably return in the next episode. The best part, though, is honestly what happens with Grimlock and Teletran X battling Thundercracker. And honestly, after seeing this, I know I gave Teletran X a lot of crap back in my earlier reviews, specifically in my Teletran X Siloed and Matrix of Leadership reviews, and I said that he was so annoying. But honestly, he's gotten a lot less annoying over the last few episodes, and I'm so glad that Boulder Media toned him down over those episodes. And so Grimlock gets a great idea to, if he threw Bumblebee at Nova Storm and worked so well, why doesn't he just throw Teletran X at Thundercracker? So he just goes ahead and yeets Teletran X into the sky, and Teletran X latches onto one of Thundercracker's wings. And I'm pretty sure Teletran X is like low-key one of the strongest characters in Cyberverse, where he ends up managing to like throw Thundercracker off course with his suction cup thing, and then uses like some lasers attached to his body to basically like punch a hole in one of Thundercracker's wings and causes him to crash land as well. And honestly, I was really surprised by just how effortlessly Teletran X is able to take down Thundercracker, and really makes me appreciate him more as a character. So with Thundercracker and Nova Storm dealt with, that leaves only Windblade to battle Slipstream, and it consists of a pretty simple dogfight between Windblade and Slipstream, but honestly, compared to like the hijinks that Grimlock, Bumblebee, and Teletran X get up to with dealing with Nova Storm and Thundercracker, I think it's a nice change of pace to have like a much more more traditional fight between Windblade and Slipstream. The fact that we've had like sword fights between the two of them, fist fights, and even a few like dog fights, to be fair, but it's nice to have like a more actual, like another actual dog fight between that we haven't had in a while, since I want to say like the earlier episodes, maybe like in like the early, before episode 10, I want to say. Maybe, I think Whiteout was the last time we had like a proper dog fight between Windblade and Slipstream. But it ends with basically Windblade managing to defeat Slipstream. She crash lands, and as she crash lands, Starscream starts calling her, basically chastising her for her failures again, basically informing her that the entire Decepticon army now is coming to Earth to basically go after the Autobots, knowing that that Shockwave has discovered the location of the Autobots because of his drones. So Slipstream informs Starscream about how Shockwave has found the Autobots, and Starscream orders Slipstream to help prepare for his and the rest of the Decepticon fleet's arrival, and that basically just makes the Autobots worry even more, because Teletran X records the whole thing and tells it to Bumblebee, Windblade, and Grimlock, and so the four of them all headed quickly inside into the volcano to go ahead and find the Ark. Now, the only other thing I really talk about is the con this episode, and that's basically the last act of this episode. I feel like that's like the last act of this episode is the weakest part of it, in my opinion. It basically involves Bumblebee, Windblade, and Grimlock and Teletran X all trying to make it past this giant chasm of lava that's inside the volcano, because on the other side of that chasm is the Ark. So basically Windblade can easily just fly across it, but Windblade and Telltale X can fly across it, but Bumblebee and Grimlock have to get creative with how they do it. So Bumblebee ends up using his Stinger Blaster to shoot down a few rocks off the cave ceiling, and that creates a little pathway for Grimlock and Bumblebee to go across. So Bumblebee just kind of parkours across the rocks and the lava, making it to the other side. But when Grimlock does it, he starts ranting about this story that he had when doing I think he mentions discovering some lithium mines or something under Cybertron. And while he's telling this story, he gets to the second last rock, and then ends up cracking, and he falls into the lava. And then Bumblebee and Windblade try to go rescue him, but Telltale X tells him not to touch the lava because it's way too hot for them and they'll be melted. So they think that Grimlock's already dead. But then Grimlock, of course, turns into his Dinobot mode, and somehow, I guess maybe that's causes maybe the I don't know how that turn Dinobot mode basically makes him have higher heat resistance, but somehow it does, and he's able to make it out of the lava with not even a scratch on him, and also has the ability to breathe fire similarly to how he's done in prior incarnations of himself, which I think is a cool way to tie in how Grimlock's able to breathe fire in this Cyberverse continuity. But it just seems kind of weird that, because he's a Dinobot, he can survive lava. I mean, I guess it's just a little bit nitpicky and not really a real complaint, but I just think compared to the huge fight scene that we had with the Autobots versus all the Seekers, it just feels a little bit underwhelming. Anyway, after that, the team, Grimlock ends up punching a hole in the wall on the other side of the lava bank, and they end up finding the Ark and get ready to open it and reawaken all of the Autobots that were put into stasis. But again, that same Shockwave drone that was following them at the end of the Extinction event is still following them, and it's surely only a matter of time before Shockwave and the rest of the Decepticons arrive on Earth and find the Autobots as well to take them out. And so, that was my review of Transformers Cyberverse Season 1, Episode 17, Awaken Sleeping Giants. If I had to rate this episode, I would probably give it an 8.5 out of 10. Better than the Extinction event in the terms that the fight scenes were a lot more energetic and impactful, but the fact that the final act of the episode just is so, I guess, underwhelming compared to the rest of the episode. It just feels kind of off and just deflates a lot of tension. I mean, the ending stinger where Shockwave's drone is still following them as they discover the Ark is definitely big, but the fact that we don't really that it's just kind of just padded with just simple exposition over the last maybe 2 minutes of the episode just feels a little off to me in my opinion. But though, with the fact that the Season 1 finale is right after this, I'm sure the finale will definitely cover a lot of lost momentum over these last few episodes. So that's going to be it for this episode of my Transformers Cyberverse reviews. Thank you all so much for watching. In the next one, we will be covering the Season 1 finale of Transformers Cyberverse, which is Episode 18, Eruption. And fun fact, as I'm recording this on November 11th, 2021, it has been exactly 1 year ago today when I actually managed to get Jeremy Levy, the voice of Bumblebee in Cyberverse, to actually record a personalized voicemail message for me, which I'll be happy to share with you all right here as a little ending bit to this episode. And who knows, maybe I'll just use part of it as a little ending clip for all my Cyberverse reviews going forward. So again, big thank you to Jeremy Levy if you're watching this. I remember you saying that you were a huge fan of my Cyberverse reviews a few years ago, and hopefully I know it's been a while since my last one, but again, hopefully you're still enjoying these, and I hope you guys too, my fellow subscribers, are enjoying this and are excited as I am to review the final episode of Season 1 of Cyberverse. If you like this review and can't wait for me to review the finale, be sure to like, comment, and of course subscribe, and I will see you guys later.
Hey there, this is Bumblebee. Paul isn't available right now. They're assisting me on a top-secret mission to take out a Decepticon stronghold. Hey, what can I say? Sometimes a scout needs a scout, but they'll get back to you, just as soon as they're done saving the world. Bumblebee out.